Hello, babies.
Hello.
Howdy, you cocksmokes. How you doing?
Hello.
Cock Smokes. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah,
That's a good one. I like it. I like Cock Smokes.
I bet you do.
Dillweed. Dillweed was another good one that you came out. You're coming up with some classic insult names.
Dillweed.
Thanks.
Dillweed.
Thanks.
Cock Smokes.
Thanks, you fucking pipsqueak.
Yeah. There is nothing.
Now you're reaching.
Old school.
Now you're
Pipsqueak is
reaching.
good. Pipsqueak is good. That
School
wasn't the
jokes
right term.
are
Yeah.
I still find them funny. They are any name or anything that I found funny in 8th grade is still funny to me now.
Definitely.
Like, Grant
I laugh
calls
at
people-
fart jokes all the time.
Grant calls people slap nuts all the time. That makes me giggle. What's up, slap nuts? See?
I like it. It
This
doesn't
is
make
funny. It doesn't make sense. It's funny.
Yeah. Hey, we are starting the show. We just had a conversation with Terrance Wheatley. So we may stick that at the end of this show to make you listen to us, and then you get to listen to Terrance Wheatley, the one-time second-round pick of the New England Patriots. So instead of grab-assing with you slapnuts, why don't we start the show with some opening takes? I'll throw it over to the bottom of the totem pole of Dumb himself. Ray, why don't you kick us off with your stellar opening take? I'm sure it's going to be great.
It takes $40 million for the NFLPA to come out and say that now that they want all this turf taken away and they want grass, because Aaron Rodgers apparently with his Achilles tendon tear, it was because of the AstroTurf. It wasn't anything else. So get rid of this synthetic AstroTurf. The NFLPA demands that we get grass through all 32 stadiums or not 32, 30 stadiums in the NFL because one crybaby little bitch hurt his ankle. And I, for one, laugh at that because why change it just because one guy did it? I mean, look at all the knee injuries and ankle injuries that happened before, but just because there's one guy who is going to be the face of the New York Jets and probably bring him back to the Super Bowl has now injured and only played 4 snaps, a little ridiculous of the NFLPA in my opinion.
Thanks for that. Yet again, your opinion is wrong. Stupid take, but that's fine. Cooper Kupp started this or extended this last year. They've been talking about changing the turf. The turf is horrible for the league. They all should go to the grass. The only reason they don't is it costs more money to maintain grass, and the owners are cheap. But if it takes Aaron Rodgers being a cuck to get it done, fine. I'm good with that. No problem. Get it done.
That's fine.
My opening take is Patriots centric. Bob, we hope you don't duplicate too much here, but I was resistant to start dumping on Belichick and on that train of get Belichick out of here, but I got one foot on the train, one foot on the platform. If the Animals, look up that song. Their lack of playmaking on offense is going to be the end of them this year. You take into the fact that you completely wasted last year with the walking nutsack and Patricia and Judge on offense. His complete lack of desire to do anything remotely close on the offensive side of the ball is evident. It's clear he can't even develop it now. He doesn't have Tom Brady to hide those mistakes, and it became perfectly clear when Mac Jones goes for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, and you still lose because a guy can't get his foot in bounds, a 6th-round rookie. He's a detriment. He's becoming a detriment if he's not already a detriment. He's going to be the reason why they lose more games than they win. I think that tide is starting to turn. So I'm 1 foot on the get Bill out of here platform for me.
Wow. That's a bold statement, Cotton.
I like that topic. I want to discuss that more.
Go ahead with your opening take.
Yeah, I think, well, we may not have duplication. We may share some of the same concerns. I do not share the same optimism that is so prevalent regarding the Patriots after this game. There was obviously a lot of good signs here, but the offense, it was the only difference to my eye that I saw this offense in last year was professional coaching. Professional coaching allowed the offensive line not to look like absolute shit, even though they were missing 2 starters. Adrian Clem deserves a kudos for that, okay, because they went out there and they played. Professional coaching had them actually have people that were, just open occasionally for Mac Jones to throw the ball to because there was professional offense routes open. But their absolute lack of everything has to be picture perfect 100% for them to be successful. Other than that, it's not going to work, and it's not going to be sustainable. They're going to be the same team. The record might be a little bit different. The defense is better, but I don't share the optimism about the offense.
Well, we shall see. We're going to get into that. Obviously, Patriots Eagles will be the main point of the show here today. Main takeaways, the key points in that game. Lost my train of thought. We'll do around the NFL. Obviously, some big stories coming around from the NFL. We've got a Bot Pods Basement Bets segment again, which should be very entertaining and I'm sure educational. And then Simplest Minds of the Week, some good candidates for that one. So let's go ahead and get the show started. Welcome to the Simple Minds Sports Show, Friday Rewind, September 15th. Welcome to the show. If you're watching on YouTube, you're welcome. If you're listening on your preferred podcast platforms, wherever that may be, please tell your friends, rate, subscribe, review, as well as tell your mothers. Always tell your mothers. And tell them about Shank It Golf. That's shankitgolf.com. Type in promo code Simple Minds for 15% off all your orders for some of the hippest golf swag as the season winds down. Probably got some good sales going on as the season comes to an end. Jump on those for next season. Golf season never ends when you're at Shank It Golf. Just come up with that. Patriots Eagles. Patriots fall in week 1 to the NFC reigning champs 25-20. Let me just give you the key turning points. Let's start there before we get into the takeaways. Some of the stuff that Bobby and I talked about. Turning points in this game. Obviously, the first one came very early. After what was a very promising first drive for the Patriots and Mac Jones. They come back out, second drive, and then immediately throw a pick six, big play Slay off the hands of Kendrick Bourne. Mac rushed the throw. Just a sloppy, bad tip, pick six, put him down early. The very next play for that offense, Zeke Elliott fumbles the ball in a slick environment with the rain coming down hard there to start the game. You get down 16-0 early. They fight their way back, 2 touchdowns before the half. And then in the fourth quarter with 9 minutes left, you convert a 4th down, 4th and 8 in midfield. Then you're at the, whatever they were, 20 something. And instead of kicking the field goal with 9 minutes left to bring it to a 5-point game, they go for 4th and 3. They don't get that. Consequently, later in the game, they could have been kicking a go-ahead field goal with 30 seconds left. Instead, they're forced to go for it on 4th down where Booty doesn't get his foot down. To your point, Bobby, I thought the offense was inconsistent. After those first 2, that's those touchdowns to end the first half, they were 3 and out 3 straight times or 4 straight times after that. And just no run game to speak of, hence Mac Jones' 54 pass attempts. Yep. Those are my key takeaways or key turning points in the game, I would say. If you want to add any more, feel free. Obviously, the booty catch is what people are, or non-catch is what people are making a big deal out of, rightfully so. But Bobby, I'll throw it over to you. Take it from there, anywhere you want on the turning points.
Yeah, at least let's start with the run game. I think that was kind of a product of the game plan and missing 2 starting guards. So I don't think they were too worried about that. And we kind of discussed that would probably be the game plan to throw it. So I think you put Nwenu in there, they can run behind him. And also Ramondre Stevens was reportedly sick and he didn't look like himself. So no run game, whatever. But yeah, let's go into number 1. Let's pretend the first quarter didn't happen. Okay, first quarter doesn't happen. We're in the second half. The team still isn't good enough. They get the ball on the 40-yard line twice to score a touchdown and win the game, and they can't fucking do it. So I was in it. I was like, once when Hurts fumbled, I'm like, they're gonna win the fucking game. I like the whole game they were coming back, and I was like, oh my god, they're gonna win the game. And then 3 and out, bum. Okay, fuck you. And then for some reason, the Eagles decide to not punt the ball and go for it, which hasn't been discussed because they won the game. So they do that, they stop them, and then now again, I'm like, holy shit, they can win the game. And then they get down there, and I think that's when one of the sacks that Mac Jones took. I'm like, come on, man, throw the ball away. And it's just, I don't even blame him because he can't move that fast to take a quick step and throw it. He just doesn't. He doesn't have that physical tool to do that to what it looks like. And I'm sure that's when the offensive line was tired and the defensive line stepped it up because, I mean, I think it came off of Calvin Anderson. The guy hasn't played. He was on this list and he finally got beat on like his 75th snap or whatever it was. So
yeah, and that's a consequence of not being able to hold a ball for 5 seconds. Like,
yeah, exactly. And
I mean,
to your
play.
point
He was
with
trying
Booty,
to make a chunk play. Like, to your point, they just went 3 and out.
Yeah.
I'm sure in his mind, he's like, we got to make a play. And you could see him trying to process it and wait for a guy to get open, and just they didn't have time.
And it almost boils down to, like, I think it's as simple as if Devontae Parker was here, we win the game.
Probably.
Now, like, literally, now, like, saying that if you have Devontae Parker, he's your saver. No, he makes those. He would have. Juju got fucking benched in the second half. Like, that's not getting talked about. He got benched, so then more snaps would have gone to him. He catches the ball when it's thrown to him. He gets his feet down. Like,
let's just talk about the wide receiver thing real quick.
So frustrating.
So there's no depth that we know there's no depth, but in more particular, I read a couple articles on this. There's zero depth at that X wide receiver position, and everyone's new favorite darling is Kendrick Bourne, but Kendrick Bourne, by all reports, cannot comprehend an offense. Runs wrong routes, doesn't break right, is slow on his breaks. Is just a good athlete, good with the ball, but is not a supreme route runner. So he can't play the X. Then you've got the 2 rookies. You've got Pop Douglas, who doesn't know the X, and then Kayshon Boutte, who's the only other guy on the field for wide receiver that knows the X, that knows Devontae Parker's position. So you've signed a guy in Devontae Parker to a 3-year extension who hasn't played a full season basically his entire career, and the only guy you have to back him up is a 6th-round rookie who doesn't know that in the pros you need to get 2 feet down, not 1. That. To your point, Bobby, I get it. You're right. If Devontae Parker's in there, he makes that catch or he makes a couple more catches, and yeah, they probably pull it out. They probably make enough plays. He's a better player than Kayshon Boutte, and that's a direct 1-for-1 substitution in that game. And it goes to my greater point of Belichick has left them high and dry with fucking playmakers. With playmakers.
More.
They just let's get to the key takeaways.
They just need one more guy.
Oh, like a DeAndre Hopkins?
We get DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
Or a Tyquan Thornton developing in his 3rd year in the league.
Yeah, or if he could play.
Yeah. Let's stick with the key points because I want to get back to the wide receiver. Ray, any takeaways on the key points there? The fumble, the interception, the Belichick not going for it, or Belichick going for it, not kicking the field goal?
Yeah, that's the only thing. And I don't know if you guys noticed it too, because Mac Jones on that 4th down, on those both 4th down attempts, did he not look flustered or scared? Like he was looking for ghosts around him. Like everything was rushed. Didn't even look like he was looking for a receiver. He was just looking at the pressure coming in because they were blitzing from both sides on him. So it almost looks like he needs to like develop like he's never going to be like a Brady, but Brady was always calm, cool. Peyton Manning, calm, cool, collective under the, 4th down because they just had that gene in him. Mac Jones may develop that, but it just looked like he was scared on those 4th down plays. Like he didn't want to fuck it up.
No. I'll give him credit on the last throw of the game. No.
The 4th and 3, Juju ran the wrong route. 4th and 3 was designed for Juju Smith. He went the wrong fucking way. So then Mac tried to make a play and damn near did. On the Hunter Henry play, Hunter Henry stopped his fucking route. People are saying that like he always does. He doesn't know how to run. They don't know how to run routes. They don't have any playmakers.
Well, even if he completed that,
watch the play again with Hunter Henry. Mac throws it and he has to make the 1-hand catch because he stops. He fucking stops. There's another play to Kendrick Bourne where Tony Romo gave him shit for putting on the wrong shoulder. He sat it was man-to-man coverage and he sat like it was zone. These guys don't know how to play the receiver position. I'm not trying to be the greatest Mac supporter like I have been but like, it's not. He went for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was the reason they were in that game.
You blame Belichick a lot on this, but is it Troy Brown's problem that he's not helping these guys develop?
They suck. No, it's the GM's problem.
That's what I'm asking. I didn't know. I didn't know if it was a wide receivers coach.
Point, if they're running the wrong routes, you could possibly blame Troy Brown. I don't know how that works, but if they all have a history of it. Troy Brown can't make him run faster, but he can make him, if he's supposed to break right and he fucking goes left, that's Troy Brown's problem.
But that's reading it. That's reading outside coverage.
I know, because they run option routes.
Man versus zone. That's having a brain to actually do it. And these guys don't. They just don't. Kendrick Bourne doesn't. He's been here for 3 years. He doesn't. That's kind of proven. Devontae Parker is throw me at the ball up, down they don't have that guy. They don't have a guy.
They don't.
They don't have a guy. Even Look, I think Juju is a smart player. He probably does not have the offense yet. He hasn't practiced with the team all season. I think Juju Smith-Schuster has been in some really terrific offenses. If you can play with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, you probably have a pretty good head offensively for the league. But he's way behind physically, and he's way behind in the play sheet. Other than that, I don't think any of these guys, I mean, who knows what the rookies have, but they're rookies. They're just like Juju. They're behind, right?
Do you think second half of the season you're going to see a difference in these guys, though? Do you think they're going to be able to equate to a normal offense, or they're going to just be doing this kind of shit all season long?
The only guy I expect to have a linear path if he stays healthy is Juju. That's it. Maybe Gesicki. I don't know enough about Gesicki and his past to know. Like, he seems like just an athlete guy too, not an offensive mind. The only guy I see a linear path of becoming more dependable is Juju, and that's it. Everybody else has a track record that's been determined, or they're rookies, and rookies hit a wall. Rookies hit walls. So, and Kayshon Boutte was not known for his fucking headiness. And who knows? I don't even know who Pop Douglas is. All I know is they didn't give him the ball enough because he's the only fast guy in their team, and they were playing little swing out routes to the sideline that got him 6 yards with their fastest guy in their offense. So
he's average height, so that's probably matching.
He looked bigger than I thought. He looked.
I did too. I was like, oh shit,
as small as
maybe it's a number.
Be,
Maybe it's a number he's wearing and makes him a little bigger.
Maybe. But yeah, I mean, that's my key takeaway, and I'll just throw this in there. You know, I wrote the blog today on it. Troy Brown, Wes Welker, Randy Moss, Rob Gronkowski, Julian Edelman, Kayshon Boutte. Does one of those names not belong in that list?
Yep.
Tom Brady. Tom Brady. And say what you want about, Troy Brown. That first dynasty we all know was built on defense and ball control, and it was a different NFL. But even Troy Brown, you take over every single wide receiver on this team right now. Beyond that, starting in 2007, Brady had either a Hall of Famer or a borderline Hall of Famer together to throw to between Welker and Moss and Edelman and Gronkowski. You want to throw Aaron Hernandez in there. Yes, he had the years of Aaron Dobson and Kenbrell Tompkins, but they didn't do shit in those years, right? Yeah. So to put that on Mac is just fucking crazy to me. Go across the league. Jamar, like the top quarterbacks in the league right now. Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, Jets Garrett Wilson,
Diggs,
Stephon Diggs, thank you. Justin Jefferson. Go down your top 15 quarterbacks in the NFL. CeeDee Lamb, they all have supreme pass catchers. If not one, they have two, and they're considered the best quarterbacks in the league. So to look at what fucking Mac Jones is throwing with, when we all know that he's limited physically, is a Bill Belichick problem. That's why I'm 1 foot on the platform here. It's you have to identify that and do something about it.
I fully agree. He has set this team up in classic Bill Belichick fashion, like Tom Brady's back there. If Tom Brady's on this team, they're a Super Bowl contender.
Mm-hmm. There always are.
But
Brady wins that game Sunday, but it's not fucking Brady.
They don't have that fucking guy. Like they put too like whatever is on Mac Jones's plate is way too much because he isn't good enough to handle it. Mac Jones would be a good quarterback if he had the weapons of these other teams. He would be good. He would have his limitations, but it would be a much more functional thing. But when we watch this offense, we see it just break down sometimes because if the play isn't run perfectly within the margins, then it just doesn't work.
Every single quarterback,
no one's just going to run away.
Every single quarterback that you mentioned in his draft class, Mac Jones's draft class, Calvin Ridley got acquired for Trevor Lawrence because he needed a blanket.
Surprisingly good.
Justin Fields got DJ Moore from Carolina. They made a trade, and they got Chase Claypool, who is a douchebag, but they still went out and got someone to help this guy get to the next level. Bill Belichick hasn't gotten anyone to help Mac Jones get to that next level. He's working with this bargain bin basement dwelling of wide receivers. Yes, Hunter Henry is a good tight end that was out there in Charger land, but now he is just another no name on this team. Basically, Mac Jones is just
he's a good player.
He's a good player. He's not one of those elite players that's going to make a difference where you can throw the ball to him 10 times a game and he's going to get 9 of those and get over 100 yards. That's what these guys got. Trevor Lawrence got that guy. Justin Fields got that guy. So Mac Jones is still not being given the tools that he needs to get to that next level in the NFL.
Yeah, and I think it's working against them. You're the quarterback in the NFL, and it's all eyes are on you. And Brady has his halftime celebration, and you're still in the wings of Tom Brady. So everybody has him to compare him to. And to your point, Bobby, Belichick has put him in the exact position as Tom Brady. So it's real easy to compare him to him. And no shit, he's falling short of him. And by the way, I keep hearing this. It's his third year. Plenty of tape on Mac Jones. First of all, you've got 2 years of tape on Mac Jones. It's been one game played in his third year. Second of all, throw out last year. It's gone. There's nothing that you could take from last year from anybody on offense on this team. It was terrible. It was that bad. It was that bad. So you got his rookie year. So I look at it from, I'm not trying to take moral victories, but does Mac Jones look different or better than he looked as a rookie? And I would just
1,000%.
say, I think there's a marginal uptick in that. And I just think that that's probably going to be even more, because although I throw out last year, there is, the physical time that he went through, and he did learn for sure. It's also his third offensive coordinator in 3 years. How many quarterbacks are successful with that? So I just think he should be getting more credit than the piles of blame that he's getting. I know there's a big sect of the fan base that are really high on him. But the guys I listen to are just fucking shit on Mac Jones. And I'm like, I don't know what else you want him to do right now. He's limited physically, he's limited with his weapons, and he's still almost brought the NFC champions to a win.
Quickly too, I know you want to move on, but that interception wasn't even his fault. Bourne should have caught that ball.
It was a bad throw.
It was a bad throw, high, but it still should have been caught.
So I listened to Bedard on this. It was bad routes by him and Gesicki. They were too crowded. Bourne did not sell his outside route to come back in, and then Mac rushed the throw, and it was wet, and it was a bad luck tip. So I'm with you. It hit his hands. You could say that either way, but it was high. It was high.
Yeah. But still, it wasn't one of those, like, it was a pick six, but it wasn't one of those ones that was right to Darius Slay where he was just like, oh shit, look at this. I'm fucking, like, kind of like last year. There was a lot of those times where you're like, oh fuck, that was just,
it wasn't a bad
read.
decision or just a
it was
panic
just one
move.
of those bad fucking
poor execution.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I think, I do think, we're going to see a marginal increase throughout the season here with Mac Jones in the offense, but it's going to be marginal. There's going to be a lot of games like this against good competition where it's going to come down to the last play. And eventually you'd like to see him by mid-season start pulling some of these out. Yeah. And, I'll be the first one to say he doesn't have it if we continue to see this type of performance out of the quarterback. But right now, I'm still giving him the benefit of the doubt here.
And I already said
Sean Booty.
I eat crow. I took it back after watching that first performance. And I know I pissed you off first quarter, and I apologize. Kisses. But yeah, I eat crow. Mac Jones looked totally different from last year.
Aren't you proud of me just not coming on showing you my asshole on the
no, now
tooting.
Everything before the Terrance Wheatley beginning of that fucking interview is all making sense now. It's just you being like, you're so cool, Ray. You're so now it's all coming together. Now it's all coming together.
God, you're so in your own head. Let's switch gears a little bit to the defensive side of the ball. I thought Christian Gonzalez was everything that he should have been. First game as a rookie, played every single snap, had a nice pass breakup at a big point in the game. I guess the tape shows he got beat a couple times by AJ Brown, and Jalen Hurts just sucked balls this game and missed him. But I thought Christian Gonzalez was good. Thought the defense held up. I think the Eagles kind of stunk. But I did come out of this going, I don't know what the strength is. There's a lot of plays made from the secondary. Uche and Judon got their, shotgun sacks. Gonzalez had that sack from the corner position.
Keon White looked good when he played.
Keon White looked good.
He looked nasty.
Do they
Romo
have
was
an
getting
identity?
a hard on him too. Romo was getting a hard on talking about Keon
every
White.
time. You could see, like, I made it a point to see when he was on the field, you would watch his linemen go back. And then after, if the ball went by him, he would run and chase that guy down.
You see him trying to chase down Hurts? He was in full sprint mode. I'm like, holy fuck, this boy's moving right now.
Mapu had a big hit. I thought he played well. There are three rookies on defense.
They all played, which was like sometimes rookies get built up, but then they don't play. Like, I think Keon White played 25% of the snaps and Mapu played like 15 snaps. So, which is still good for their first game. So I think we'll see an uptick. I mean, when those two guys are on the defense, you ask what's the strength of their defense? It's speed and cohesion. Like they have so many,
which is insane to say about the
Yes.
Patriots defense, and it
Yes,
hasn't been
they're
that.
never
fast.
happened before. Yeah,
I don't know.
They
ever.
are fast. And I think the cohesion point comes from most of the core has been around for 2 years now. They know what each other are doing. They're spinning the dial. They were confused. Like they literally can confuse it. I think they finally have some form of that amoeba defense that they've been doing. So when you like, it's a cohesion and confusion, and they're fast.
Yeah,
For once,
I think Bentley's a big part of that. And he's literally the only
he
linebacker.
looked faster.
He does, and he's literally the only linebacker they basically field out there. You know, you got Peppers, Phillips, Duggar, Mapu, Miles Bryant's had a good game.
It does need to be
Bobby.
said. Miles Bryant played well.
Yep,
we'll see about that.
Peppers hit on Hurts to jog that fumble.
Oh my God, it was awesome.
Orgasmic. Did Jack? I didn't see. I mean, Jack Jones was out.
He didn't play.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even throw outside, so I really didn't even get to see much of that outside cornerback position. So yeah, I just don't know. I think you're right. I think the strength of that defense is up the middle with their speed, all the way from the D line to the secondary.
How'd you like Jalen Mills on the secondary in the playing safety?
He barely
I
played.
thought he was pretty silent last game.
He barely played. He played like 10% of the snaps.
Wouldn't you just put him on the outside cornerback position, right
Wait,
side?
what did he play?
They fucking
What did he play again? I forgot. I was just asking a question.
They cut his ass. They played him 4 quarters in every preseason game. They fucking hate that guy.
So he didn't play cornerback at all?
I don't know.
I don't know what he played. I looked at the snap count,
your left
and he played like
cornerback?
10%, and I didn't see him on the field.
What?
Remember how Bill was saying, like, oh, he's your cornerback. He's your starting cornerback. He's your number 2.
Brian, I think he was talking about.
No, he was talking about Jalen Mills.
Was he?
Oh, he was talking about Miles Bryant. I'm sorry.
He was wrong about Miles Bryant too.
Yeah, he played good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that similar to last year, they're probably a tick better than last year. If they can stay healthy, which should keep most or all games in the mid to low 20s. Which, just hey, I don't mean to fucking toot too much, but
that's real.
I do think the 25 stats real, and I also think that there's a good chance that they can do that 10 to 12 times this season, especially now with the Jets situation, which puts my prediction of 12 wins back on the table. Super Bowl back on.
Your nuts back on the table. You're ready to go. You're ready to roll.
Slab nuts. Real quickly before we head into the headlines here, any quick thoughts on the Brady halftime celebration? They didn't air it on TV. You guys to go back and watch it on the
closure.
It was good for you, Ray?
Yeah. Did I get an erection like for the first time since 1998? Maybe. Kelly have the best sex of her life? Maybe.
DKG
in the house.
Did you watch it, Bobby, or no?
I didn't see it.
I listened to I started to listen to the YouTube, and then it said 9 minutes, and I gave up. But I listened to snippets of the key parts of the speech from Brady.
Patriots.com crashed too when they aired it.
I thought it was cool. I mean, yeah. This is a reason you're a fan. If you're a fan, that's great. That's awesome. He did the run out. People got jacked up. I wish the circumstances were a little bit better. Like, I wish the team was a little bit better. I think that would have helped. Especially, it helped that they scored those 2 touchdowns going to halftime. People.
Oh my God, I was going to bring that up. If they didn't do that, how bad of a halftime would that have been? Brady chance coming into the third quarter.
It would have been a little rough. I didn't know what to expect. People were making a big deal that it was basically just an announcement to come back in the summer because he's going to get into Patriots Hall of Fame. But I always just thought it was like closure. I always just thought it was a chance for him to say, goodbye to the New England fans, and that's basically what it was. And I thought he did a fucking great job doing it. And I think that there was some real genuine parts there. I really think that he has had time to reflect and think like, holy shit, we did some amazing stuff with our time here. And he had a chance to say it, so that was cool. I think they have him locked in to come back contractually a couple times this year.
And definitely 6/12/24 will be statue unveiling guaranteed outside of Gillette Stadium for Mr. Tom Brady.
They should do a statue.
Fuck yeah!
Do you think it should be him doing the
mountain of a statue?
I've heard them doing the let's fucking go, or I just think it should be his form of throwing the ball. He's got one of the tightest fucking fundamental forms throwing the ball.
Yeah, or
It's,
like he would
iconic.
always have his like that he did, like one of those even. But yeah, if he has his like standing back, that would work too.
He should be the Jordan logo that Bobby has on his hat. Like Tom Brady's form of fully cocked back, about to throw the ball, is kind of undeniable. That is Tom Brady. That's what it looks like, and it's the perfect form. It should
be one of those
the new
cunty videos
fucking
of him with
NFL
all
logo.
his rings, where he's sitting there like that.
I think it should be the one where he's trying to high five people and everyone's moving beside him and not high fiving him. So if you're a fan, you can just walk up and high five him, high five the statue.
Yeah, or
going down the slide, going like this.
One of those. Yeah,
one of those. Well, I mean, one of those they're great choices. All of them.
They'll all work. Maybe there should just be a museum, like a
one in each wing.
Yeah, there should just
like
be
Bobby's house.
An art district of statues of Tom Brady and all of his greatest moments.
I mean, you could have like one for each deck. Like he has like so many different timelines of his career that you could just have different ones, you know?
Yeah.
3 Hall of Fame careers, they say.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Hall of Famers, let's throw over to headlines with the obvious one.
Generous.
Richard, I thank you.
That was nice.
That was nice. I appreciate that. As we've been talking about, the Patriots opened up the 2023 season with a 25-20 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Mac Jones is good, going 33 for 54 for 316 yards with 3 TDs and only 1 interception. Kendrick Bourne led Patriots receivers with 6 receptions, 64 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Next up for the Patriots is a divisional matchup with the Miami Dolphins on Sunday Night Football. Dolphins are currently 2.5-point favorites. The Red Sox could be in last place in the AL East at week's end, and that puts a smile on everyone's face. And on this day in 1979, Red Sox Bob Watson is the first player to hit the cycle in both the AL and NL. He did it with the Astros back in the day. This has been Headlines with the obvious one. Back to you there, Richard.
Good old Bobby Watson. Hey, look, we're going to skip your Bob Pod Space and Bets because we're late tonight because of Time Lord Wheatley. And it's fairly evident. We can get into it if you want to, but let's go to around the NFL. We'll touch on your prediction was the Patriots are back on top, AFC East Division champions.
Please go read the blog on simplemindsports.com.
Okay, now again, another tip and trick to enunciate when you speak, especially if you're asking someone.
simplemindsports.com.
Must be your mic. You sound like an asshole. Let's go with around the
testing.
NFL.
Nope,
Yep.
Still sound like an asshole.
Yep.
Okay.
Smell like one. Week 1 of the NFL, shit ass day for quarterbacks and offense across the league. Unless your name is Brock Purdy. Just a sloppy day all around. A lot of people blame it on the CBA. You can talk about it if you want, but the lead story coming out of the day is Aaron Rodgers. We've been biting our tongue for the past hour to talk about this, so I'll throw it on out there. Everyone knows the story by now. Blown Achilles. I've gone back and forth on whether I should be as happy about this as I am, but when I saw it, I didn't laugh because he got hurt. I laughed at how fucking predictable the whole situation is between Aaron Rodgers and the Jets and the hype and the HBO show Hard Knocks and just the Jets thinking that they've gone over this hurdle and then immediately it goes down the fucking toilet. I just couldn't help but laugh. And then in the morning, I woke up to you guys' text that he's blown his Achilles, and I woke up my wife. I'm like, you're never gonna fucking believe it. It's just fantastic. I don't know what to tell you. He's the most overrated player of his generation, and this just tacks onto it.
Oh,
Go ahead, Bobby, because I'm looking for something.
It was just the most Jets thing that could ever happen. Like, number one, choosing to be a Jets fan is just a terrible. You have poor judgment if you've done this. Number one, there is no reason to do it. There's other choices in your general area, and there's other teams in the NFL. So if you've chosen to done this, you deserve it. You're a moron. So it's just there's nothing more Jets than these people were so jacked up. Breece Hall has a 26-yard run. Everyone's like, yeah, we're the Jets, baby. And then he just fucking sits it down. He's like, we're done. It's over.
And
then they showed Salah's face. When they showed
like
Robert Salah's face on he was just.
Can I give you a little timeline real quick? Monday, 8:26 p.m. Richard McPhee. Aaron Rodgers hurt and out. LOL. Sprained ankle. William Gately. Ha 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 ha. Richard McPhee. Can't make this shit up. William Gately. Fuck the Jets. Richard McPhee. That is so funny. William Gately. I love it. Love it. Love it. Fuck the Jets. Bobby Vine. Just sat it down. Laugh out loud. Richard McPhee. Toot toot. Jets gonna jet. Rodgers gonna douche. That was our timeline when we found out that Rodgers was injured.
That's an inside look into the Simple Mind Sports Show text message chain.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious though. Like that's hilarious. That is so Jets culture that you get this guy, you think you're gonna go for a Super Bowl run, just like when they got Brett Favre. Oh, everything's solved now. We got Brett Favre coming in. Aaron Rodgers comes in. The same thing. They think they're going Super Bowl or bust. Well, you bust, boys.
Bust. And then predictably, Zach Wilson comes in and just looks like an absolute bozo with his hair on fire. Still hasn't learned a goddamn thing. Going to be the same. Somehow they pull out the game because Josh Allen has a
really
has a head full of rocks. It's just so Jets. They're not going to rock bottom. Their defense is too good. I think Robert Saleh is a joke. I think he's a tool bag. I don't think he's a professional coach. But I think that their defense has enough talent, and he's got the scheme is pretty good.
They have good players on. They have good receivers. They have good running backs. They have good players.
No shit. Everyone wanted to go there to play with Aaron Rodgers to go to the Super Bowl.
Here they try to trade for Matt Stafford instead of sign Aaron.
I did not hear this.
Rodgers.
I saw that in your email. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he was their second choice. Good original call by the Jets. Let's go trade for a guy who has a broken back instead of a 40-year-old who's upside down in a dark room smoking ayahuasca. Take your pick, I guess. No, but the Aaron Rodgers thing, we were talking about it. I just didn't think it was going to work out. You had the Jets being the Jets, and then Aaron Rodgers hasn't wanted to play football in a couple years. He walks on the field this summer, sprains his calf, doesn't play for a few weeks. Essentially barely sees the field until the first regular season game, and 4 plays in, blows his fucking Achilles. And then to your point, Ray, I was too hard on you. Now he's blaming the turf on his Achilles blowing. Fuck you. If they use it to get the turf changed, fine. But that's not why your Achilles blew, Aaron Rodgers. It's because your fucking health guru is too hopped up on shrooms going into the multiverse to let you know that your calf is a little tight. Fucking douchebag. Your great peppered. Yeah.
No.
HBO Aaron Rodgers show. Yeah, I am happy it happened. Fuck Aaron Rodgers. Fuck the Jets. I'm with you, Gately. Fuck you.
Quickly though.
What are they going to go? 7 wins? What's their ceiling this year now?
Well, 7 last year.
I go 7.
I mean, they snuck one out. Maybe 8. They snuck one out Sunday night, so Monday night.
Gately's been sending memes all day, but this one really hit home. The Patriots traded down in the 2023 NFL draft with the Steelers to block the Jets from selecting offensive tackle Broderick Jones. Jets offensive tackle Dwayne Brown, age 38, missed a block on the play that ended Aaron Rodgers' season. And it's a picture of Bill Belichick drinking that orange juice.
Chest first.
Not checkers.
Chest first checkers, bitches.
Talk to me about Josh Allen, Bobby. Do you think this is just another one of his stupid hurdles? The Bills will be okay. They're still in command of the division, or do you think that it's a true downward trajectory for this player in this franchise?
There's been smoke all offseason regarding the Bills, and it's with regards to the lack of Stephon Diggs feels that the Bills and some Bills players aren't taking their Super Bowl run as seriously. Right, that's kind of the thing, that they aren't as focused, that the organization isn't going all in, and that the quarterback isn't going all in. And I think his performance in Week 1 showed that. I think they'll take a step back. They're still a good team. They'll win games. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is the type of thing that tanks them. You would think that game, at that point, how do you lose that game? That's really the only way you lose that game, is by turning the ball over 100 times. So. Yeah, he's ever since Dayball left, he hasn't been the same guy.
Yeah, I think, and we'll talk Miami now, who got into a shootout against the Chargers. Brandon Staley should be fired tomorrow. He might be the worst coach in the NFL.
They were winning. They were winning that game.
He's a fraud.
Yeah, he's riding the talent on that team, and he's awful. To let mean, I get Tyreek Hill is, one of the top wide receivers in the league, but to let him do what he did, and Tyreek Hill has 1 or 2 of these 3 of these games a year, and whenever it happens, it's like, who he is, double team. Like,
Yeah.
don't go one-on-one. Like, scheme your shit to not let him do that to you. What are you
do
doing?
what the Patriots do. Let him catch it.
Miami's
and don't let him
wins
get
being
behind
overblown
you.
because the Chargers suck. Like, I understand they have good
suck.
players. They fucking suck. Okay. I'm sure that Miami will look good in this game, but it's not going to look like that. It's just a different the Chargers suck.
Miami also gave up over 254 yards of rushing. Their defense didn't show up. They gave up 34 points, whatever, too. So that's a long way of saying, Ray, back to your Bob Pod bets of the Patriots winning the division. I think you're realistically, if all the things work out on the Patriots offense as well as they possibly can, I think you're realistically looking at these 3 teams vying for 10, 11 wins in the division. I think that's on the table fairly realistically. And let's not discount the fact that Miami is a full-on trash bag organization, and Terrance Wheatley agrees with me. He just knows Miami's going to Miami, and Tua scrambled eggs. Something's going to happen to that guy, and they got no answer for it. And the McDonald kid with the fucking glasses looks like a dork. Has yet to prove that he can coach himself out of a bad situation, which is no different than any other Miami coach that's been there since Don Shula. So, look, divisions I think is up for grabs. You got to handle your shit if you're the Patriots. You got to handle your shit. Should be interesting to see this Sunday coming up. Just quickly, we don't have it on here, but you got any off the cups predictions or thoughts on Pat's Miami Sunday?
I just have a question for both of you. Who do you put on Waddle and who do you put on Hill? If Jack Jones is healthy and plays, who do you? I had this conversation with my cousin.
I think he's on IR.
Is he?
Yeah, he's on 4-week IR.
I didn't hear that.
Do you think that's a suspension,
Jonathan
or
Jones goes on
think that's an
Tyreek Hill.
internal? Sorry to interrupt. You think Jack Jones is an internal suspension, or do you think he's hurt?
Well, I thought it was like a hamstring injury.
Yeah, but like he played all preseason.
Kind of like a Jordan retiring to go play baseball.
I had
like,
considered that as an option.
Shitbag, stop fucking off. We're putting you on the injured list for the first 4 weeks, and we're not paying you.
Fuck me. Bobby's right.
I don't know. It just crossed my mind. Like, he wasn't injured all preseason. He played the last full preseason game. No report of an injury. And then all of a sudden, the court case gets dropped, and there's no repercussions for being a complete jackass, bringing guns to Logan.
It wasn't his.
All of a sudden, Jack Jones now is not playing for the first 4 weeks. And Robert Kraft had this big, long discussion with Bill Belichick in the practice field before the first game.
Okay, so who do you put Gonzalez on?
Anyway, go ahead, Bobby.
Jonathan Jones goes on Tyreek Hill, 100% all day. And if we're just manning for man to man, then it's Gonzalez on Waddle. But
okay,
they'll bracket him. They'll bracket Tyreek Hill. They'll play probably a 2 deep safety. They'll let Tua dink and dunk down the field, like he has the last 5 games and won all of those games. They won't let Tyreek Hill go for 100 yards. And Jalen Waddle will be the guy that beats him if he does. Like last time, they broke that slant deep.
But if you have Christian Gonzalez now, I mean, he did look good after the first quarter. He looked good the last 3 quarters against Devontae Smith. So
they've never matched man to man on teams like this, even with Revis. They've always They've always gone a team defense. Amoeba, like Bobby said, they got speed now in that middle part of the field. They'll bracket Tyreek Hill, try to break him out of the game, and see if someone else can beat him. I think.
And Waddle can do it.
That's what to do. And now you got the Keon White kid. They got speed. They can maybe track down Tua and get after him. Uche, Mapu. They got speed to take on.
I think it's going to be a real competitive game. I think it's going to come down to what came down to in the Eagles game. Just Patriots can't make mistakes. They can't throw a pick six. They can't fumble the ball, or they have to get the equivalent amount of turnovers. It just has to be that way. So
they can't have a sloppy first quarter.
They scored 14 off theirs, and we didn't score any off ours. But you can't throw a pick six. I think it's literally just that simple. I think the Eagles have an equivalent offense to the Eagles.
Miami.
They're equivalently good.
Dolphins, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, win the turnover battle and limit Tyreek Hill. Don't let him beat you on big chunk plays and offense show up.
Keep that offense off the field. I mean, if you can rush for Tua, the Chargers could rush all over him. If Ramondre Stevens has a good practice this week and not have that illness, I think that you just run the ball. You keep Tua off the field.
You know
That's
it's
all you gotta do.
Stevenson, right? You keep saying Stevens. I know that's your
That's my enunciation.
in-laws. Okay.
Stevenson.
Oh yeah,
Commander
yeah.
Stevenson.
You just
That's
My
your
enunciation.
in-laws.
you're cutting off the
Like
last syllable,
quarterback Mount Rushmore.
saving time, cutting off the last syllable. That's
Quarterback
fine.
Mount
Let's
Rushmore.
just stick with Ramadan and Ding Dong if we can moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Ramadan
That's
and
a
Ding Dong.
great nickname.
Ramadan and Ding Dong doesn't have that illness. We're good.
Hey, real quick, Zeke. I know the fumble was bad, but in terms of a backup running back, when your first guy is sick with the flu, looked okay. I mean, I could have would have been okay to see less of him, but looked okay. Looked good.
Yeah, no problem with Zeke. Yeah, I thought he was as advertised.
Yep. Real quickly, are the other stories? Chiefs lose on Thursday night to the Lions. Mahomes without his binky Kelsey looks like a not the greatest, not the goat as many people, the baby goat. I don't know. Is that similar to what we just talked about? The greatest quarterbacks of all time, and even now still have elite receivers. Even when the great Patrick Mahomes is missing his binky, throwing to the likes of Sky Moore, the offense looks to fall flat.
Did Brady ever lose to the Lions?
No.
Oh, weird. And his name's not Travis Kelsey. It would be Taylor Swift's boyfriend. Now,
is that right?
From now on, yep, they're dating.
What?
Wow. Come on,
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
You can do better than that.
Huh.
Like Brock
Taylor,
Purdy.
I'd
like to see Taylor with a guy like Brock. Just a real steady, average height, fine gentleman like Brock Purdy and the 49ers absolutely curb stomped the Steelers and Meebic. What I think 2 weeks ago or last show I said the Steelers and Patriots were relatively close as a team. Nope. Steelers offense is putrid.
How long is Mike Tomlin going to keep getting a pass for having these just getting embarrassed and being average?
Well, he never has a losing season, so I don't know.
There's probably gonna be a couple more years.
They've only had 3 coaches like in their history.
Yeah, him, Cowher, and Chuck Norris.
Yeah, Chuck Norris. So
Chuck Norris. Yeah, Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris once chopped down a tree in the Appalachian and then was the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Fucking Chuck Norris. That motherfucker's done it all.
The 49ers that good or the Steelers that bad or somewhere in between?
Both.
49ers look nasty.
That defense, Bosa, I mean, it's going to be a hard team to beat, but I think Kenny Pickett in his little hands, he's not on the same page. I guess, was it Deontay Johnson? Or one of the receivers went on social media, was liking all the stuff about like everything, criticizing Kenny Pickett. So there's turmoil there in Pittsburgh.
The 49ers, I mean, they have the perfect off. Ayuk looked ridiculous. Deebo Samuel's still good. I mean, Kittle's a good tight end. And McCaffrey is McCaffrey. They're good.
That fucking run that he had, that catch, and just gone.
There's no reason they shouldn't win. There's no reason they shouldn't have won in the past 2 years. I don't know. Kyle Shanahan gets in the way or injuries and they can't overcome them, but we'll see. Yeah, I know not to overreact to week 1, but that Steelers offense is bad. It's bad.
Another win for the Patriots then.
Was that?
Another win for the Patriots because we play them. So after looking at that.
predicted. I don't know what you guys had in that game. Giants, absolutely pathetic showing against the Cowboys. Everything is kind of showing out the way I looked at. The Cowboys are always good early. The Dolphins are always good early. I don't think the Giants are that bad, but I'm not high on the Giants. People were high on the Giants, 7-8 wins. I have no faith in Daniel Jones. I just don't.
He got paid.
I don't know how he played. Yeah. And I know nothing about the rest of their team, but either way, what did they lose? 38-0 or something? 40-0?
40. That would be 4-0. Let me enunciate that a little better for you. 4-0.
Don't overreact to week 1, but 40-0 is 40-0. I mean, fuck.
On national TV, the Sunday night game.
It's your arch rival. I mean, come on. Like, that's
not good.
Pretty fucking bad. That's a hard hill to climb.
I work with a lot of Giants fans, and they are quite salty. Quite salty.
So what do they think? What's the problem?
Well, they can't even. They haven't gotten themselves to rationally discuss it. They're still so mad, and then there's also so many just absolutely overbearing Cowboy fans that keep working 40-0 in. Like they'll just like walk by and be like, "Oh yeah, so thanks for that email, Rich. Like I got that done as fast as I could in like 40 seconds with zero pushback." Like stuff like that, like just making all sorts of digs,
Yeah,
and then
28 to
just
3
getting
kind of
them as
things.
wound up as possible.
Nice.
Who had that 28-3 dig on Matt Ryan and Matt Ryan's
It was at the
first
broadcast booth. I don't know the guy, but that was fucking hilarious.
Matt Ryan's first time in the I don't know if it's first time, but in the broadcast.
It was
booth.
first game. Yeah, first game.
He drops the
They trolled him.
28-3. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really. Oh yeah, he said, it feels like Minnesota should be winning 28-3, but
Right now.
why not? Why aren't they, Ryan? Why aren't they, Matt? Takes like a mini pause and
His leg just flashes between his eyes, through his eyes. Yeah.
Turnovers, you fucking asshole. And then lastly here, the Bengals blow. Care to speak on that, Raymond? Joe Burrow and the Bengals blowing.
Never use your first round and fifth round fantasy picks to keep these two fools, because you are going to have to do the bon voyage of Renee when you do.
Yeah, that's a little insight into our fantasy football league. They won't be this bad. They're too good to be this bad. But does it say anything about the Browns?
They own Joe Burrow.
Look,
I think
freaking ridiculous.
Did you see him doing the crossover? He was like doing the Gerald Esposito.
That was like
move.
that was like frightening.
Yeah.
Did you see that, Bobby?
No, what?
He just stood. There was basically a zero defensive line coverage against the offensive line. He stood in front of the center and just did like a mimic basketball through the legs crossover move, and then like hezzied left and then broke right and just swim move through the center and fucking tackled Burrow. It was
my god.
Yeah, it was like playing with his food. It was.
It was funny though that no one's talking about, like, Watson didn't have a bad game. No one wants to talk about that. That defense looks fucking deadly. They could be a problem in the AFC North.
I don't understand why people weren't talking about Deshaun Watson. I get he diddles women, but like he was a top 5 quarterback before all the shit went down. He's a supreme athlete. He's got Amari Cooper, who has not had a 1,000-yard receiving year in a season. He's got other players around him. Like Deshaun Watson very well could be another elite quarterback if his shit's screwed on tight. It is Cleveland, so they, it's a very Jets situation. I'm sure they'll screw it up, but like,
yeah, I feel like it's coming. I just don't see that there's no way that they're not going to sustain this shit. They're going to brown it.
Some hollow stats are probably in their future, but I don't know. You do that to the Bengals. What can you say? Scoreboard. Anything else jump out of you week 1? I missed
Vikings losing to Tampa Bay.
Oof. I mean, one thing that jumped out is, all the teams that we said were going to be bad. The Rams beat the shit out of the
Seahawks.
The Seahawks. The Buccaneers winning a game. Then there was another. What was the other team that was?
Cardinals and fucking Washington. I thought the Cardinals were supposed to be
the Cardinals and Washington. I mean, the
Commanders
eventually won, but it was just total week 1 chaos.
I wasn't with you on the Rams. I think Matt Stafford's too good for the Rams to be bad, and I don't think Geno Smith can duplicate what he did last year. I think he's too bad for the Seattle to be good. So, but I was wrong about. I mean, maybe I wasn't wrong about Minnesota, but it was surprising to see them have as bad of a game as they did. Turnovers killed them. I thought the Raiders were going to be dog shit, and Jimmy G just wins, man. I don't, he'll be hurt though midseason, and
of course they'll be like 4-2, and then it'll be done.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Hoyer's their backup. So,
oh god,
maybe they are playoff bound.
Good luck. That NFC South blows that division. Those games are bad. I mean, Saints.
Bijan Robinson.
I guess you think Atlanta's gonna be good because of Bijan Robinson.
No, but that fucking move that he had for that touchdown was
Tyler Algier outrushed him. If you look at the stats, he had a better game. I don't have any faith in Atlanta. But
I don't either. But I thought it was a very nice move.
What's your
Bryce
name?
Young's
Ritter?
gonna get split in half.
Huh?
What's the quarterback? Ritter.
Yeah,
Ritter.
I watched a little bit of that game
Ritter.
on Red Zone. He sucks. He's not a quarterback. He's just an athlete throwing the ball.
They keep throwing fucking shit at the wall, trying to make it stick down there, and it's not working.
Yeah, they should call Mike Vick back. He's on the
Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore for Terrance Wheatley's quarterbacks of all time. So, and Peter's Mount Rushmore for assholes of all time.
Yeah,
They never forget.
They never forget. All right, real quick, simplest minds of the week to end the show. Be right back.
Are you stupid or something? Mama says stupid is as stupid does.
Thought I had one more sip for this. Nope. Kick it off with the Bills owner, and I guess some other owners are getting wrapped into this lawsuit. The racist
Jerry Jones now. Yeah.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I'm surprised that this is the first we've heard of that. Racist comment by Terry Pegula,
Pagula.
who is, by all accounts, you remember the story that they were looking to build a new stadium, and they were not going to pay for themselves, and they end up basically it was all going to be taxed. I forget the whole story, but they were going to screw over the state of New York.
Everybody. Yeah.
They were like threatening to move to Toronto over it, right?
I think that's
Anthony
right,
Kay was the one that I was talking about. Remember, Anthony Kay was like, "Oh, just come to Toronto."
Right.
Pay for it, or we'll go to Toronto. Fuck you.
Yeah,
That's
so he's
what I thought it was.
He's a bit of an asshole, and this tacks onto it. He said, quote, allegedly, I think, quote, if the black players don't like it here, they should go back to Africa and see how bad it is, end quote. That's going to get you in some tabloids, I think. And
I think
apparently
you're gonna be
on
selling
a
the team.
official law document. You think they'll force to sell over that?
Well, look at the Clippers guy. What
Well,
did he
if
say?
He did more
if
of
they
that.
verified that he says it,
understand.
if it's verified, like if they can verify that he says it, I don't see how the NFL can let him continue to be an owner.
Oh, it's the NFL. They'll let him they over a comment, I think.
Oh, didn't they make the Panthers owner sell because of something similar to this?
The Panthers owner sold before he got into it because he didn't want to get into it and really probably didn't give a shit and made whatever $1 billion he made on the sale.
Gotcha.
Maybe it goes the same way. Maybe if he sees a wrath of shit coming his way, then he gets out. But Don Sterling had he was not letting people in the building and not allowing certain athletes to join him on suites and things like that.
I thought his girlfriend recorded him saying a bunch of shit and that's
and then
there was recordings, yeah.
And then there were proper recordings of saying Magic Johnson can't come to this event or whatever, and then he went through with it of not allowing Magic Johnson to come to the event specifically because he was black, something like that.
It was that or the AIDS.
Well, either way,
stay positive.
Either way, you're not long for this world. And shit like that, guys like that, we only hear a portion of it. Billionaires who are forced out of positions legally or violently, we probably only get the tip of the iceberg. There is probably a mountain of shit that is put in front of them that say this will all come to light unless you.
Well, that isn't the first time he said something like that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's not just that slips off.
Imagine his text exchange.
Yeah. He wasn't whoop, that's out of character. Whoopsie.
Yeah. And I'm sure Terry Pegula, who's, I'm sure it's the same for him, but who knows what they have on him. We'll see. Yeah, that's more of a serious Simplest Minds. He's just a fucking dumbass or a piece of shit, racist. This guy next up here is, I don't know if this belongs in Simplest Minds or Most Courageous Minds, but my headline was "Man's Dreams Crushed by the US Coastguard" because some guy wanted to pedal his hamster wheel across the Atlantic, and the U.S. Coast Guard said no. In response, he threatened to blow himself up
because it
which is the
wasn't
right thing to do.
Man, how do you not respect that move?
First of all, why would you have to register your hamster wheel? Number one, and if you're the Coast Guard and this guy just wants to paddle along, just let him fucking go.
Let him go. Turn your eyes until he gets to international water. Then it's not your problem anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, registering a inflatable hamster wheel. What a libtard fucking overgoverned. Thanks, Obama. Just let him go. Just what do you need a license plate for that shit for? But the old I got a bomb. He knew it was coming. He thought he was going to get by. I am curious. The picture of it was, it's a wheel.
It looked unsinkable. I mean, I think it was a foolproof plan.
What is the plan, though? It's got to take weeks to pedal across.
Where was he going? Where were you going?
Months.
He's going to Cheerio, London, mate.
It's not that far. I can see it from the Cape.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Although, I don't know. You got to ride the tides there. You probably would end up in fucking Morocco, Libya, something. Not exactly where he was shooting for. I just, yeah. I don't know what those people's plans are. I'd really like to see an interview on that.
See, these are the things that we need to ask. We need press passes. That would be the first question. What was your end game? Like,
My
what-
first
what-
question was be, where do you shit?
in the
You
ocean.
gotta-
You know, aqua dump.
So you exit the hamster wheel, jump in the Atlantic with a rope like Hank fucking like Tom Hanks in Castaway, and just
Wow.
aqua dump in the salty water, the frozen North Atlantic salty water. Your
You know how
sphincter
clean your
would
butthole
shrink
would
up
be?
faster than a goddamn.
Be clean though. It would be clean.
A lot of questions about
What
what
was
that
gonna
would be.
eat? What the fuck? How was he gonna eat? He wouldn't have to worry about shitting if you're not
Well, that
eating.
was my other question: is where
Yeah,
where
that
where's
would be
the
my
food
first
coming
question.
From? Where are your
Where's the
nutrients
food?
going?
Anything.
He was gonna fish. He was gonna fish off the hamster.
Where's the
wheel.
pole?
It's,
I see a pole.
it's pretty.
Where's
roomy
the
in there, I
bomb?
think.
Does he actually
Where's
have
the
a
bomb?
bomb?
Are you smart enough to make a bomb? That'd be a question.
He's like, do you see this hamster wheel, bitch? Are you smart enough to make this?
Or just bought one off Amazon.
I'll blow you up right now.
Anyway, good for that guy. Man's dreams crushed by the US Coast Guard. Hopefully, he tries again in a more lenient
Hopefully.
state.
We'll just register the damn thing, and you can do it whenever you want.
You don't come to this show for just entertainment. You come
Imagine
to
he
learn,
does.
okay?
Imagine he goes and registers it, and the Coast Guard goes to pull him over, and he's like, "Here's the registration. Fuck you."
I got my fucking papers. Good luck, buddy. And then the bomb
They're
goes
like,
off
all right,
on
whatever.
accident.
They
It
just
blows
poke a hole
up
in his shit.
on the horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been the Simple Mind Sports Show, Friday Rewind, September 15th. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You have a lot of editing to do.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It's a little cleaner with the two shows. You kind of know what the breaks are. It's okay.
Sorry.
Less work in the front end, more in the back end. Just like your mother.
What's up?
Hello there.
Going on?
How are you?
Doing
It's
good.
on.
How are you guys doing?
Very
Doing
good.
just fine.
Good. Glad you could join us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry for being a few minutes late. It's pitching hour over here with 3 kids.
Yeah, no
Ah,
problem.
the kids.
Were you taking a shit or you're just dealing with the kids?
I would rather be taking a shit than dealing with the kids.
It's a much more enjoyable experience. So with us is Terrance Wheatley on the Simple Mind Sports Show, former second-round pick of the New England Patriots, University of Colorado alumni. Welcome to the show, Terrance. Appreciate you showing up.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be with y'all.
So yeah, like I said, we got some questions for you. Throw over to Ray. We'll kind of dip into topics.
Yeah,
Awesome.
fire. Let's go.
Former Colorado Buffalo, like Rich just said, do you like what Deion's doing with your program? Because a lot of people are complaining that he's ruining college football with all this transfer portal he's got going on this year.
Well, I will tell you, for a little while there, I don't think anybody knew what the hell was going on. I was talking to folks, and I'm getting all sorts of different answers. So I think everybody in Buff Nation was a little bit concerned, right? It's like, what the hell's happening, right? I've never seen a mass exodus of players like that. So to be honest, at this point, who gives a shit? It's working. I've been, a big supporter of everybody up there. I talked to Rick George quite a bit, and I think it was needed, to be honest. I think the culture needed to change. I've never seen the culture change that fast. I've never seen it done that way. When I changed from Barnett over to Hawkins, he made not a similar speech, but kind of, this is my ship type of speech. But I've never heard anybody say, hey, if you're not about it, get the hell out, right? That's unheard of. But if you look at what they're doing now, I mean, they believe, right? And it's not even like they're just the talk of college football. I mean, they're really the talk of all sports.
Yeah. They doubled their win total too already too. So
well, when you only won a damn game, that's not that hard. But
Math is math, man.
It's a
We take
start.
simple math in this show. We'll take the one plus one. And
it's very simple.
coach still has his foot, right? They didn't take that.
Yeah,
thing?
he still has it. He still gets around. I think he'll be all right. So that'll be good.
I was in Colorado. I was actually on that campus. I stayed like a half mile, and I tell you guys, I stayed a half mile from that last week, and it's been a long time since been on a college campus before. And I don't know how close you're with it, Terrance, and I hope you don't take offense to this, but they are all douchebags. Every single one of them. They all.
It's always the rich West Coast kids that couldn't get into Stanford.
There wasn't a
Early 2000s,
single
right?
white guy without some type of long flowy hair, his shirt off, playing beer pong, with just the most quintessential college look that you could think of. And
I mean, it's a very, to be politically correct, I guess, eclectic campus. You will see all sorts of shit that you'll probably never see anywhere else. I remember one time I was walking to I think I was going to like one of my econ classes, and I saw a barefoot Asian guy with dreads longer than mine. If that gives you any indication who's on campus.
he was probably all hopped up on some designer drug that, like, only half the population could even afford.
Yeah, it looked like he was feeling okay because it was fucking cold. So he was outside.
Yeah, it was January at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm going inside, bro. It's a little too cold for me.
Bobby?
So what got you so obviously you played at college, played in the pros. Out of those, what got your juices flowing more? Running out for Colorado or running out for the pro teams? Or was it even playing high school football? Like what really got you more excited to run out on the field for?
Really all of it, man. I mean, your first college game obviously is going to be interesting, right? Especially, well, I guess for me, maybe not so much because playing in Texas, you have, my high school stadium was 12,000 people, right? So when I get to Boulder and they're like, oh man, you're playing in my high stadium, it's 40,000. I'm like, all right, well, give a shit. And then obviously when you're in New England, running out the first time and you're standing next to Tom Brady, it's like, holy shit, this is real. This is not Madden. This is not a video game. This is, you're going to go out and play in the NFL. I mean, nothing beats that, regardless of where you're at.
Nice. So just kind of like a lead into what we were talking about there about the campus experience there. So just in college, is there anything that you could have done, maybe like preparing yourself for a little bit longer run there, maybe a little bit less partying, maybe not as many groupies? I mean, what is it? What is it that you could have done?
What was the lady scene like there?
And if you could describe the groupie, how does the
full
groupie
detail for Ray,
out?
because he's been married for 25 years.
Yeah, please.
Well, I met my wife in college, so maybe it was, a lack of groupies.
Very nice.
Shit, man. I got the shit end of the stick. I mean, when I was in college, I dealt with injuries, and then when I got to the pros, you're dealing with more injuries, and once injuries start happening, man, I mean that shit sucks, and you can't make the team in the cold tub, and that is a true fucking statement, especially in New England more than any other team probably in the NFL. Right, they're on to the next one. And so, after my rookie year and I saw that they drafted Darius, it's kind of like, all right, man, you got this kind of uphill battle, and then you end up breaking your foot your third year. And at that point, I mean, the way that they operate, and I still talk to Scott Pioli to this day for stuff that I do for work, that's just their mentality, man. It's next man up. No offense, see you later. Thanks for your services. Here's a trash bag. Go pack your shit.
Yeah, it's a good lead into the Patriots stuff. We have some questions on that we can fire through. But we're now to the point where we look at Belichick, and obviously we've been following him from a fan's perspective. But you were a second-round pick. There, Duke Dawson. There's a bevy of second-round picks that Belichick has made, or even first-round picks, and it's almost like he has this spiteful, motivation against either developing these high round picks because he likes something more in the later rounds with more value, or just kind of likes to mold them in their way. But do you see any type of pattern there with these? Like N'Keal Harry is the latest example of a first round pick that didn't work out at a skill position, right? It just seems like there's a pattern there with the Patriots.
I think when you look at first round and second round guys, I mean you're coming in to not just start, but especially when you're coming into New England, I mean they expect you to start and be a perennial type player. And so if you're not that, and they got other shit to do, right? Because you're coming in to fill a need, right? So when I came in, it's not like we had a plethora of DBs, around me, right, to even mentor me, right? I mean, the best guy was Ellis Hobbs, and he wasn't exactly the best mentor. And so, I think in fairness to Bill, I mean, that's not his job, right? So if you do get hurt, or if you're a little bit of a slow starter, bro, you're out. Got to find somebody else, because I brought you here to literally replace somebody. And so, like in my case, I was there to basically replace Asante, and he just didn't have time for it, right? I mean, I was a slow starter. You end up getting hurt on top of that. And so it's like, well, shit, I got a need I needed to fill, especially the way the Super Bowl ended, the year before. That's just the reality of it, right? And so for some of these guys coming in first, second round, you're not going to get the hand holding and all that other shit, right? So he's going to focus on, if I can get a guy that's, sixth, seventh undrafted, do the same thing, I'm going to put more effort into that. And I'll just offload this guy, whether you release him and you just take the fucking cap hit or you trade him.
Yeah. We go back and forth on if that's the right thing or not. Like, should your draft position determine?
There is no rocket, there's no, I guess, formula for this thing, right? I mean, there's guys that are super successful at other teams that as soon as they translate over to another team, shit just does not work, right? And until you're able to be on the practice field with somebody, like, shit always looks good in film, or it may look like shit on film, and then the guy's like the best shit ever when he shows up to your team.
Right.
That's where the scouting department helps, but even that is like not a perfect science.
How much is the human element there? Just like the relationships that you could build with like the organization and staff there. Like how much does that come into success for a player?
I think more so than people think. I think if you feel welcomed and you feel welcomed in the building, you got a good relationship with not just your head coach, but especially your position coach, trainers, it just makes your life that much easier, right? You feel comfortable, you're happy. The transition from college to the pros is a big jump for a lot of folks, right? And so if you're not used to that, then, that may be, another thing that you have to work on, right? Like, I don't want to sit here and worry, does my coach like me, right? On top of trying to make the team, depending on your environment. So, especially when you look at New England, the environment, at least at that time and still to this day, is so intense. If you don't have that relationship with your coach, that's just another fucking hurdle that, you just got to deal with, right? And for me, I didn't necessarily get along with my DB coach. I didn't have a whole lot of mentors. I was in that kind of era of all the guys that were towards the later part of their career. So, I mean, the one guy that I talked to a lot on the team, there's really two guys, was Teddy Bruschi. I talked to a lot because I played golf with him. I talked to Randy a lot too, not so much because he wasn't on defense. But John Lynch, even though he was there for a short time, I talked to him probably more than anything.
About John Lynch,
right? So, me and him were roommates the night we play Tampa Bay, and then he gets cut, I think, a couple of weeks later. But
right,
that's the type of environment that I'm talking about, right? Like, who do you gravitate towards? And if you don't have that, kind of support system built into the team, then yeah, man, one is the loneliest fucking number out there.
And you were at the epicenter of that. When you talk about like the Brady run from 01 to the last one, that 2000, specifically that 2009 team, you guys they jettisoned Moss. They shipped out Vrabel, Bruschi, and Harrison retired, right? Yeah. Asante was
there was a lot of shit. There was a lot of shit going on when I was there.
You guys won the division 10-6, but it's like deemed one of Belichick's like worst coaching years because of all the turmoil. Do you feel like he lost the locker room in that? Like, did you guys have a sense that it wasn't the same as when you first got there? Or?
No, I feel like there was like a lot of pressure, and then obviously like my first career game is when Tom blew his fucking knee out, so you're starting off with the whammy out the gate. But then, like, the way that the Super Bowl was lost the year before, there's this expectation and pressure. And then as soon as you lose a game or you don't play as well, there's even more pressure, not just from the fans, but internally, right? Like, it's all over the place. And I think once you start that kind of downward trend, especially from a mental aspect as a team, it's really hard to change it and be like, oh, yeah, we can do this, we can do that. And so I think looking back on it, I think if we were just to relax and just have more fun and just not give a fuck what everybody thought, I think some things would be different. But again, that was just the environment back then, right? Expectations were exceedingly high. I mean, stupid high.
Yeah. You're saying about that, about like, so high in the intense level of Belichick. Do you think he's getting softer now because the kids that are coming up through college are softer and like their feelings are hurt all the time? Like the way he's dealing with Mac Jones kind of thing, like he's in a bubble. You can't really hurt his ego and stuff. But I'm just saying, like, it seems like Belichick's getting softer now that the kids coming up are soft these days, I
don't think Belichick will ever be soft, number one. So what you see behind closed doors, it's pretty similar to what you see in person in interviews. He's very blunt. He's very dry. He's to the point. But I also do think you have to adapt as a coach, right? So, like, yes, the new generation of player is way different from when I played, right? There's a lot more prima donnas in the group. They're a lot more vocal. Social media wasn't really a thing when I was playing. Now it's a thing, right? So
Yeah.
as a coach, there's just certain ways that you have to come about things, right? And I think he's doing a good job. So I don't necessarily think he's being soft. I just think that's the modern athlete, right? Unfortunately, as a coach, you can't run in there and MF everybody all the time like you used to, right? You could do that shit to Randy and Tom or whoever, but MF and Mac Jones or Tyreek Hill or whoever it is out there. I mean, that's either going to be received really, really well, or because of the nature of the sport now, especially on the business side, players have so much say in shit compared to what we used to have. You may piss off the wrong guy as a coach, and all of a sudden you got a bigger fucking problem.
I was just going to say that we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago about just the money and across pro sports and how, unbelievable it's getting. And it's interesting to see, the market is following, capitalism's points. Like the high end is high and the low end is low, and the guys in the middle are not making as much anymore. But I think you're right when you talk about coaches don't have as much authority, because if a guy's making, and Aaron Rodgers is making $50 million a year, it's like,
yeah. You're probably not going to say a whole lot, right? I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just depends on, is that your natural coaching style, right? Yeah. And there's some coaches that are typically a player's coach. They're very friendly. They're not going to MF you. They get it. And there's coaches that are very old school in their mentality, to where they're going to get in your face and get in your ass a little bit. And all of a sudden, if I have this quarterback that's making $50 million a year, again, the last thing you need to do is rub somebody the wrong way, because as a player now, especially if you're a top dog in really any league, the amount of sway that some of these players have is far greater than it ever has been in history. You hear about some of these top quarterbacks that are now having a say in who the team is going to fucking draft, right? And yes, you may want to have an opinion if you're looking at an O-lineman or something like that, but literally swaying that pick because of your quarterback is something that I've never even heard of that shit before. Yeah. Right. But now it's you hear it all the time.
And we've heard it for years and years and years, the success of the Patriots, and, so revolved around Brady and his ability to be that guy that allowed Belichick just to rip him in front of all you guys and the whole organization, and just kind of move on to the next one, allow himself to be coached. Did you witness that? As
yeah, I mean, everybody gets MF'd all the time. I don't give a shit who you are. Tom gets MF'd, and so does Randy and Teddy and all that. But I think the one thing with Tom is Tom just brushes that shit off. I think his confidence level is so higher and was so high. I mean, to a degree, it's kind of like, look, bro, if you want to MF me, you can put somebody else in the fucking game, but you're probably not. So, right.
Yeah. You got a little leverage there.
Yeah, a little leverage there.
As sorry, Bob, I know you got a question, but I was interested to see, as one of, like, I don't know, maybe 12 guys that came through the program at that time that didn't get to a Super Bowl with the Patriots. Do you have like a chat group, like a support group or an AOL chat?
Every time somebody hears that I play for New England, I'm like, look, bro, let me just get the elephant out the room right now.
You were like, there's a 4-year gap, and like you were the one.
Yeah, I just tell people, like, look, bro, my first game is when Tom blew his knee out. Period. So that tells you how my shit went.
Yeah. Bobby.
So, what's the funniest story you have from your time with the Patriots here? I mean, with Vince Wilfork shaving, creaming a kicker in the locker. Like, what was going on in there? Tell me something funny.
I got all sorts of shit. Probably the funniest one was like maybe my second year. And we're in a Thursday practice, so we're going through some situations. That's a big thing for Bill. So we're going through actually punt team, backed up punt, and I forgot. I think it was Malesko or Zalesko, whatever the punter's name was back then. And all he has to do is kick the ball as far as he can out of bounds. And he was a left-footed punter, and of course we're all just fucking running down there, and he shanks one. He just out flat shanks it. He kicks it maybe 5 yards. Straight out of bounds. So Bill blows a whistle. He's pissed off. And Bill's kind of funny, right? So he'll fuck with him. He kind of looks at him like, we're doing this again. So we line back up, and he doesn't shank it. He like overcorrects it and kicks it dead in the middle of the fucking, like, he couldn't draw a perfect straight line down the middle of the field. Dead in the middle of the field. Not what we're going for. And so Bill is kind of looking at him like, look, bro, if you have to turn your dick to the fucking sideline, kick the shit out of bounds as far as you can kick it. And of course, he steps up, and he's a rookie too, so he's freaking out, and he fucking shanks it straight out of bounds again, like 10 yards. And I'm just sitting on the sideline, dying laughing. I was like, he probably shit himself like 4 times right now. And so the drill was over, and that was the end of that. But that shit, the whole interaction, that shit was funny.
Was that Mesko? Zoltan Mesko?
Yeah, it was him. Yeah. It was early. It was like super early in his rookie year, and that was the first time Bill ever like really got into him in front of everybody. But it was hilarious.
Nice.
Put your dick to the side there. That's great, man. We won't take it too much longer, but we wanted to get into what you got going on now. But just your opinion on if you're following the Patriots still or the NFL. We had week 1 last week. Mac throws for 300, but they come up short. You seen anything with our Pats? You think they can win with a mediocre defense like they're back in 2003 or offense?
Negative, Bill Strider. They cannot. I mean, they got some issues, right? And I think Mac needs to do a better job of maybe controlling the clock a little bit more. Maybe that's a function of play calling. But at the end of the day, if your defense sucks, especially in today's game, you're gonna get your ass beat. That's just the reality of it. It's already an offensive game, and so if your defense ain't solid, if you're giving up, I would say even more than 10 to 14 points a game, you will lose like every game. You can't do that shit. That's not. It may not be fair, right? But the way the game is played, everybody wants to see points, which means the focus needs to be on defense. So maybe we need to change some things up. I still talk to Mayo every once in a while. So I know they're working hard up there, but I think they got an opportunity. I think with Aaron going down, I mean, all of a sudden they're not the favorite because you still got the Bills, but you don't know what they're about, right? They're all over the place. Same with the Chiefs. That was kind of a shocker out the gate. So we'll kind of see how things go for them.
Mm.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, the AFC East. Once people are going in and think it was going to be one of the strongest in the league, everyone. It's week 1. It's like I don't know. Every quarterback sucked this week.
Yeah, after week 1, I think it's a toss up at this point. Right now, I mean, to me, you're going to look at who has the best defense. Miami's always somewhat solid. I'm still not necessarily sold on their quarterback. Right. I mean, I know he went through all this stuff last year, but I was never really truly sold on him on being on that elite level anyway. Whether he has Tyreek or not, I mean, that's just now Tyreek's a fucking monster, right? But you can solve that problem, right? You could double him, you could do all sorts of shit that you want to do, but is the quarterback going to make up for that? I don't personally see it. You look at the Jets with Aaron, it was still the fucking Jets at the end of the day whether they got Aaron. So I counted them out. So to me, it was really going to be New England and really Buffalo at that point. And, really looking at everything, I mean, the Bills are always solid. But I still always kind of like New England because they would always play sound, mistake-free football. But if your defense ain't worth a shit.
Yeah, I think you got Blockhead up in Buffalo who can sling in 1,000 miles an hour, and you got scrambled eggs brain down in Miami. So things could bounce the right way for New England, but they need to. They're not good enough to just outright win it. I don't think.
No, they're gonna need some help, right? I mean, unless they make some moves in free agency or something. I mean, we'll see kind of who's out there and all that stuff, right? But looking at the roster, I mean, it's solid, but does it scream we're going to beat the shit out of people?
No, they're throwing a fucking Tayshaun booty to try and keep the game going on 4th downs. Like Devontae Parker can't pay back. Hey, we're going to let you go, but reading up on what you're doing now is really interesting stuff. Is it Atavus or how do you pronounce it?
Atavus, Atavus. It just depends on what part of the country you're from. I'm from the South, so I say it a certain way.
Cool.
So how'd that come about? How did you come up with that venture? Where did the opportunity come from? Like, is this something that happened to you in your career that you just wanted to help out with the coming up with the youth and getting them to start tackling properly?
Yeah, kind of. For me, like when I retired, I worked for the Cowboys for a number of years. I was front office for almost 5.5 years. And then I transitioned into the sports technology space. So the company I worked for before actually made a mouthpiece that tracked TBIs and concussions. I've had a few myself, and I know a bunch of guys that are going through things. So for me, the health and safety of players just made a lot of sense. And so we do at Atavus is we actually break down the mechanics of the tackle. And we actually take all those data points and feed it into our system. So we're actually the only company that will actually grade somebody's tackling ability and if they're actually good at it. So right now we've worked with teams like the Carolina Panthers, Alma, Michigan State, Army. I mean, the list goes on. But we're trying to solve the riddle of, okay, if I could take data set from the mouthpiece, right? I know there's an impact. I know how hard it is. Well, what did that player do to cause that? Now you can start to make rule changes that actually make sense. So, we were doing a lot of cool things. We're working with a lot of cool people. We just signed a 7-year deal with the NJCAA. We're going to sign a big deal with the NAIA here in a little bit. I got a group down in Mexico I'm talking to. It's been fun. It's been exciting. So that's kind of what I do now is, basically help the game, help them make it be safer from a tackling perspective, which happens every play. Hopefully, unless, you're getting bombed on, going for a touchdown, which I've done a few times, and you're not tackling anybody but the goalpost. But it's been pretty cool.
Do you think that programs like yours can work their way up and have an impact at the highest level with the NFL? And in conjunction, do you think that the latest CBA, what was it, 2011, and the lack of tackling and the preseason and the way the rules have changed to the point where guys are easing up? Do you think though there could be a swing back to the defensive player in the NFL if they can, if we get a new generation of tacklers, we can bring some more physicality back in the game if they're doing it right?
Yeah, and I think you have to, right? You can't be good at something if you don't ever practice. I mean, that's like a fucking oxymoron. I've never heard of saying, "Hey, here's a keys to a Ferrari," but you've never practiced driving before, right? There's a reason why you get a fucking driver's license. Same with tackling, and so to me, there's no shock, at least in my opinion, that all of a sudden we're having more injuries and guys retiring earlier on because they just simply don't practice it. Like, yes, you can lighten the load on the player during the week by not doing it as much, but you still have to practice tackling. There is a way to tackle aggressively and safely, which is why we worked with the Carolina Panthers a couple of years ago, and they were the best tackling team in the league. They were the number 2 defense in the league.
2-2, baby, 2-2, little.
Yeah, there we go. So, realistically, right, if you tackle better, you're going to have a better defense, and it's safe. Like, we're the only company that actually has a white paper that was written by a mechanical engineer that proves that our style of tackling is safer, and that's something that hopefully the NFL catches wind of. I've had conversations with them. I'm very, very connected in the league office. But for now, they're going to try to figure it out on their own, and maybe they will. Who knows?
Yeah, of course they are. All right, 2 lightning questions for you at the end, and we appreciate your time here. Bob, you want to kick it off?
Sure. Toughest wide receiver you ever went up against?
Randy Moss, period.
Did you? That was just in practice, or did you have to face him live? Did they turn around and play you guys again?
Faced him once when he's in Minnesota once.
Okay.
But in practice, I mean, he does shit that blows your mind, right? I mean, watching him on the field, he will do stuff that you're just like, there is no defense for that. There's no coaching for that. The first time I ever got mossed in practice, Bill came up to me and I'm a rookie and I was thinking I was preparing to get my ass ripped like most people do. And he actually came up, shook my hand. It was like, you just got mossed. And I was like, wait a minute, that's all you got to say?
Raymond?
Okay.
Who's on your cornerback Mount Rushmore?
Ooh, Tom for sure. That's an easy one.
Yep.
Everybody puts Brett Favre up there, but the interceptions for me is not I'm gonna have to count him out there. So Tom for sure, and then I'm probably gonna say Michael Vick, which I think a lot of people forget about.
Wow.
Right.
Except for Peter. Peter remembers him forever.
Tom, Mike Vick, and
fucking Mike Vick. First of all, hold on. Time out. Joe Montana, Dan Marino, John Elway, Peyton Manning, any of those guys ring a bell?
Yeah. But I'm just thinking, like, in terms of, like, if you look at the top quarterbacks that I wouldn't say changed the game, but started to change the game, what Mike could do, I don't think anybody has seen that shit before, right, at that time. That's why he's up there for me.
He was a cheat code back in the day.
he was a cheat code, right? If he didn't get in all that shit, he would have records galore,
Oh, yeah.
right?
You put
That's just
where's Lamar? Where's Lamar close to Vic?
I don't think he has the physical tools like Mike did. I've seen Mike throw the football 70 yards in fucking air,
Yeah,
like on a rope.
That's crazy.
Right. That's shit. That's just like there's no defense for that. There's no cheat code for that. He is the cheat.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, I mean Peyton's up there on it, the obvious ones, right? But Mike is one that I think people forget about because of everything. He had a little bit of a hiatus, but even when he came back, I mean, I believe the first pass he ever threw when he came back from everything was 70 fucking yards, like on a rope in the air, and it's like,
oh yeah,
shit.
He was pushing MVP votes in Philly there, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, when we played him, I was like, this is unreal. This is not real.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, nuts.
But
I think that's.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Tom, Mike Vick, Peyton, Steve Young. I grew up as a Steve Young fan. Don Elway. But I think in terms of like physical ability, to me, it's probably going to be Tom, Mike Vick, and then I would even probably put like a Dante Culpepper up there from a physical ability.
You're just trolling us now, Terrance. We're gonna let you go on that. That's that's a fantastic fucking answer. We appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out. Great stories, some Pat stuff there. Yeah, we appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, if you guys want to catch up again, just let me know. I'll
Absolutely,
talk
man.
that shit all day.
For sure, man. Yeah, maybe mid-season or something. We'll talk about how shitty the Patriots are doing.
Who knows? I mean, fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. We're with you, man. We're with you. All right, take it easy. Thanks.
All right. Thank you much.
Later, man.
See you guys.
Fucking Dante Culpepper. You gotta be kidding.
He was trolling at the end. Come on.
That was awesome.
Come on.
Well,
Of course,
maybe
you
if
got the
you
usuals, but let me throw in Dante Culpepper right at the end.
maybe if you enunciated your goddamn words.
I know. I said cornerbacks, but he
You
probably heard
get so
back.
jittery or so nervous, you know. It's okay.
Sorry, baby.
It's all right, baby. It's okay.
Okay.
It's
still funny. I think that was better off, though. I think that was a better question because
Well, it wouldn't have led to that. Yeah, I mean, what
Mike
else would he
Vick
would've said?
thing. I was
Brady,
like, what?
Steve Young, Mike Vick, and Dante Culpepper. One of these things is not like the other.
The Tom one was
Uh-huh.
probably just obligatory.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you have to start that off. That was a New England show. Yep. Tom Brady
Yeah.
won.
I'm Brady.
Then I'll give you Mike Vick.
Yeah. People forget Mike Vick, not Peter. Peter remember.
Peter always will remember.
Broken glass beneath my swollen feet. I got a future for memories. Born on a bad moon in a little Texas town called Cut and Shoot. None of you say so, nothing you can do. 'Cause I got something troubling on my mind. I got something troubling on my mind. I got something low inside of side. I got something on my mind. Turn it up. I got something troubling on my mind. I got something troubling on my mind. I got something low inside of side. I got something on my mind.